Um, Another game that was very much like that, the Canadian Classique, Montreal versus Toronto, red versus blue. Connor, tell me what you thought about this game.
First, before we do that, gentlemen, I need to give you guys some time because you have some apologizing to do to a certain fan base. So I will give you the time here to get that off your chest.
We have one more game, right?
I gotta say, yeah, we don't have any apologizing. We have some questions to ask of these Montreal supporters who we backed with blind faith.
Well, no. First, we didn't. First, we said they were terrible.
You're right.
Got yelled at by the fan base.
Backed them.
Then we backed them, and then they still are terrible.
So, and granted, they're not terrible. They're just not winning. They're looking okay, but they're not winning. And I am upset. I'm angry. I feel hoodwinked, bamboozled, insert any other word here. And if I keep talking, I might throw something. So, Connor, continue.
I'm glad you can get that off your chest. And I would like to say to our guests that I was the only one that didn't change my opinion on them, and I did not back them, and I was correct.
Because you're a hater.
I'm not a hater. I'm just right, and you'll find we'll find out later when we talk about our prediction scores, and you'll see that I'm doing very well compared to the other two. So usually I'm pretty good about this stuff. But anyway, I feel like I've been talking too much about myself. Let's talk about Montreal and Toronto. And this game was pretty much just a showcase for how good Akinola is. And that's like the best way I could put it. I mean, Montreal, like you said, obviously parts of their game are looking pretty okay, and then parts are looking awful. I think defensively they look bad. I believe they had Wanyama as a center back that game, right?
They played Wanyama as a true number center back, yeah.
Yeah, and defensively they looked slow, and obviously when you give up 4 goals, it's not going to be a good look on your defense. But the attack wasn't terrible. I feel like the attack was there. I mean, you got 3 goals. In most cases, that's enough goals to win you a game. But Henry has to figure something out defensively. And it's funny because I feel like in the beginning of the season, before the pandemic hit, that was their thing. Is like they were pretty solid defensively. Like you sat back pretty deep, you defended pretty well, and you hit a couple times on the counter, and it worked for them. But now things after the pandemic don't seem to be going that way. But on the Toronto side of things, I know they won the game, but it didn't look great for them either. Same thing defensively. I thought Omar Gonzalez looked slow. He was getting beat in behind and giving Montreal these opportunities to score, which they did. And then Mavinga was trying to clean up some of the messes for Gonzalez when he gets beat. Like the one where he gave away the penalty and he just wiped out the Montreal player. And it's not like the guys on the bench have been a lot better for Toronto either. I know Simon and Zavaleta have not been great for them. So they got to get something together defensively, because if they keep playing like this, they're not gonna make it through. Despite how many goals Akinola could score, he can't. And as great as Pozuelo is behind him, I mean, eventually your luck is gonna run out in terms of scoring, and then you're gonna need the defense to come through. And they can't be giving up 3 goals every game, because it was 3 this game, and then it was 2 against DC where they were up, man, might add. So they got to figure things out there. But in the end, they get the win, important 3 points, so they can take that momentum into their next game and hopefully try to, for their own sake, clinch things up and get the 1 seed in the group.
So here's the only thing I'm going to say about that. I thought that was a decent rundown, but I feel like you missed the whole point of the intro to all this reaction. You just said Akinola is going to stop scoring at some point. He is the new USMNT hero. That will never happen. You need to figure out.
We just talked about this in the beginning. They do well for 2 games, and then they stop.
No. But you're not allowed to say that. It just happens. You can't believe it. It just happens.
So if I believe it, it won't happen, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Wild.
I hope he doesn't score. It's honestly it's great to watch. I like seeing him do well. Hopefully he does go for the US, but even if he doesn't, I still hope he's banging in goals, despite the fact that he's ruining my Zardish shout for Golden Boot. But That's all right. That's
He would
okay.
be super dangerous with Kyle Larin up top in Canada with all the young players that have come through that system. He would make that team very, very good and a big problem coming up in the future. But
Smart decision is you go Canada right
oh,
now.
absolutely, absolutely.
Guaranteed game time, probably.
He'll play. I was gonna say he'll play a ton for Canada right now, and I think we're about to see a system change. I don't know how much longer we can have Berhalter manning the sidelines for the men's national team. So Canada is going to be the CONCACAF team to, I think, show out in this next World Cup. I mean, obviously you've got all the hype around Davies, but you mentioned Kyle Larin. You've got a lot of young guys that are coming up for Canada. And now, I mean, Akinola wasn't even on the radar, I don't think, before this. And now Canada's got to be looking strong at least a bench striker option, a guy that can get you some wiggle on the field if you need it.
So the thing that I see Canada as right now is very much like Belgium in 2014. Belgium in 2014 were everybody's big pick to be good. They were young, they were talented, they had a whole bunch of stuff, and they fell flat. To me, I think Canada needs one more cycle before all those players come from good and high potential, or like young and high potential, to good. So I think you'll see them when World Cup comes to us. I think they're going to be a problem. I think this cycle
2026.
Yeah, I think this cycle might be. We have some time off, but I think in the very near future in the football world, they're going to be a problem.
Well, do they have what they need defensively to get through? Like, I know we talk about a lot of their up and coming prospects, but they seem to all be attacking wise. Do they have what they need defensively?
Well, Maxime
I don't
Crepeau
know.
can just make 90 saves a game. We'll be fine.
Yep.
I mean, they've got Davies on the back line, right, sweeping everything. So when you've got the world's fastest player able to sweep everything off of your back line, it's not a bad place to start. But if they have to keep starting my boy Dejan Jakovic, I don't know how they're going to do with that. So hopefully they can go away from the 35-year-old back there on D. So
yeah, they're definitely. I have a feeling there are some in the pipeline that are playing maybe in the Canadian League right now that we don't know about, but. I can't be certain.
Oh, they also have Jonathan David too. I forgot about him.
They got there's Waterman right in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
So there are players there. I wonder if they're at the level that they need to be. Interesting.
We'll just have to wait and find out.
That we will.
One more point before we move on, and I texted Andrew this after this game, but this is the Romel Kyoto I want to see. First game, he may as well not have been on the field because he did nothing. I think he was trying to do the same things he did against Toronto that first game, and they just weren't working. He continuously drifted out to the left and would whip balls in, and there'd be no one there because he's one of their strikers. This time he did it, and the midfielders and the I forget who else was up top, Rudy to start. Yeah, was actually making runs in the box for him to cross to. So he looked a lot better. Obviously, he grabbed one of their goals, but I was very impressed with him this game.
Yeah, he looked fast. He was doing well at beating Gonzalez and getting him behind.
Gonzalez is a step slow. That guy.
I was gonna say my grandma can run faster.
I've seen a lot of Omar Gonzalez over the last 10 years or so here in Los Angeles, and I've always felt he plays stiff. He plays too upright. He's got no natural angle to his runs at all. And unfortunately now, and you mentioned, Simon and Zabaleta both back there on the bench. There's a reason why they're on the bench. They're just as rigid. I don't think they've got a lot there on that back line. I'm not a big fan of Omar.
Mm-hmm. The one issue I
go for it.
Sorry. I would say the one issue I have with Montreal is actually with Thierry Henry, where we watched this game and it was very clear what their game plan was. Sit back, absorb pressure, hit him on a counter with fast players. He comes into the press conference after the game and goes, I thought we did really well building up the play, breaking through the lines and creating chances on our own, not just through counters, but actually playing the ball and playing soccer. And I go, if that's what you took out of that game, you're in trouble because that's not what happened. So I'm very interested to see if and when he makes any changes, because the game plan is good, but you have to have players who are committed to it. And we spoke about this off air, where if you're going to be an absorb pressure and play, great, be that way. But make sure you got everybody on the same page so you're not playing 1v4 every time you attack. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very interesting team he picked, not just the 11, but the players on the bench as well. It was a lot of younger guys, which, I mean, granted, we're seeing a lot of in this tournament. So it's been good. The extra bench spots and the extra substitutions means you've seen some of these guys that may not have gotten game time.
Mhm.
But one of the subs he made was bringing on Rod Fanny at 50 years old. So I can't think of a game situation, especially when you're chasing a scoreline, where that's the answer.
Grant, I don't know who he has on the bench that could have come in the formation he was playing, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know if he was ready to change formation at that point because they weren't getting blown out. They still were creating counterattack chances. So
Right.
it is catch 22 there. But
Right. But again, you're trying to counter and you're putting Rod Fanny on.
dump it, baby.
Not exactly the speedy counterattack you'd want.
Yeah, lots of question marks on that one, but it will be an interesting one for sure to see how they rebound from that and take on DCU.